The First Amendment and the Second Amendment are the two most important laws on planet Earth. The rest of the world is like begging us to keep this because we make it a lot easy for them to hear the truth. And we must protect that at all costs.
Yep.
All costs. And like some of these judges that the Bidens put in, dangerous, dangerous people. So I'm hoping that we can do it. So I'm very happy about that. 18-year-olds are interesting. That's an interesting age, but they should be allowed. It's a constitutional right.
There's something that goes along with rights that is always just kind of glossed over, and there are responsibilities that come with all rights. Just because you have the right to carry a gun doesn't mean that you don't have the responsibility to not destroy other people's property, not harm other people. The gun is not licensed to shoot whatever you feel like. Right. It's not licensed to behave like a crazy person. It's not licensed to go and do whatever you want. It comes with all of your liberties come with responsibility. So if you can say whatever you want, right? But you have to understand that like you might upset someone if you say the wrong thing, and then there might be repercussions from that. People might be around you. You might offend people, and things can escalate into where they decide that they're in a position where it's acceptable to violate your rights. But you say things, and the words that you say, you're responsible for them. So if you expect to be able to have friends and want to have people that actually want to be around you, you have to speak kindly about people, and these responsibilities come with the liberties that we have.
There's a lot of people that mistake the freedom of speech with freedom of expression. A lot of people get upset with that. You get banned here. And listen, I've been shadow banned everywhere, so I get it. And there is a discussion whether Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube and all them are extensions of the U.S. government. There's an argument for that. But what I'm going to say is like, unless somebody's showing up to your door, I'm ready to arrest you, that's not violating your freedom of speech. That's what freedom of speech is about. I can criticize the government without going to jail. And we've seen people's freedom of speech being violated. Oh, yeah. And it's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, there are consequences for actions. I'm a stand-up comic. I have people come on stage wanting to fight me all the time. And it's not even that bad of jokes. There are people out there that have weird reactions to words.
Were you attacked recently?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Where was that?
Physically?
It was at this club that I love. It's in Hollywood. It happens occasionally. I don't want to say the name because I don't want them to get this kind of Roadhouse kind of brand. But if I would have known it was Roadhouse, I would have reacted to it a little different. Because as he was coming up, I'm like, I'm going to get banned from this club. They're never going to hire me again. I'm never going to do stand-up here. So the guy grabs me, and I just grab my microphone. I'm like, dude, calm down. Just calm down. Be cool. Be cool. Wow. Happened to be a bunch of Sam Tripoli fans. They all kind of beat the guy up. But yeah, so you don't have freedom of expression. People are going to react to it. But the key is to teach people not to have emotional reactions to everything. That's a big problem we have in this country. Everyone's emotional. So with a gun, same thing. Like you can have the right to protect yourself, but doesn't mean you can go and harm people because you just don't like them.
Right.
What do you guys know about the Gun Control Act of 1968?
No, I don't.
So that's one of the things that I think the FPC is looking to get repealed. I believe the Gun Control Act of 1968 it's not what has the SBR and SBS bans. Actually, let me look it up to make sure. I don't want to speak out of turn here.
I'm doing that enough.
So gun control, it says
not at all.
What was that?
I'm doing enough of that.
You're doing great. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled that Section 2 of the Act of June 30th, 1954, as amended, is amended by deleting and $35 million for each of the fiscal years 1968 and 69, and inserting in lieu thereof a comma and the following for fiscal year. Okay, so this is just a funding thing. Is amended by adding the new Section 3. There are hereby authorized to be appropriated such sums as the Secretary of the Interior may find necessary, not to exceed $10 million for any 1 year, to alleviate suffering and damage result. This is not the Gun Control Act. The Congress hereby declares that the purpose of this title is to provide support to federal, state, and local law enforcement officials in their fight against crime and violence. This is the long. Okay, all right. Let's see, as used in this chapter, the term person terms. Okay, so this is definitions. This doesn't have a synopsis or whatever. Actually, you know what? Let me see if Grok can give me a synopsis.
But back to Sam's point, why you do that, it's why a lot of these people who have no morality and live in a bubble think that something like words can actually be violence.
Yeah.
Right? Because like the Second Amendment scares them and the First Amendment scares them. And to them, both things can harm them.
Yeah. Well,
Actually,
you know, free speech doesn't do hate speech. Yeah. It doesn't.
But also, silence is violence. So it's like it's hard to know what's what these days. You know,
When you live when you're born into like the best hospitals, live behind gated communities, go to the best schools, go to the best colleges, intern at the best places, you never feel real world consequences.
Yeah.
So words are violence to
right.
them.
To them, for sure.
Yeah.
It's all
A mean
relative.
comments like that's hate speech.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And so it's very important to protect that all the time. And that's kind of what we're fighting, people that don't live in a normal reality.
That's why I think that comedy was one of the first things to be attacked by the cult, because comedy calls out a lot of the hypocrisy and absurdity in the society.
And it's also that, you know, YouTubers and comedians are the ones who can create art without banker money.
Right.
Like in the past, you needed to have cash to put on a play, make an album, make a movie, all that stuff. Now you don't need that. So they're attacking that because you don't have to play their game anymore.
Exactly.
So the Gun Control Act of 1968, the primary aim was to regulate the firearms industry and curb the illegal trafficking of firearms, sought to keep guns out of the hands of those not legally entitled to possess them, such as felons, minors, and those with mental health issues. Licensing, the act mandated that anyone engaged in the business of selling firearms must be licensed. So that was about FFLs, and it listed the record-keeping requirements. Prohibited persons, it expanded the category of individuals prohibited from purchasing or possessing. That included convicted felons, fugitives, drug users, or addicts, those adjudicated as mentally defective, and individuals dishonorably discharged from the military, which I think that's wrong.
Weird.
That's pretty bad. The act banned mail order sales, import restrictions. All new manufactured firearms had to have serial numbers, and it had the restriction to people under 21. There's a lot in this that actually, if you get into it and really drill down on it, a lot of the stuff is unconstitutional. There's no reason for people dishonorably discharged from the military to not be allowed to have their Second Amendment rights. It makes sense to say drug users or addicts can't, but at the same time, the ability to find out if they are, you have to to things like tests or whatever. You shouldn't have to be.
How do they define drugs?
That's the exact point. Yeah, well, yeah, I'd say
because it could be SSRIs, it could be street stuff.
Yeah, well, I could be doing speed or I could be doing Adderall.
Right.
Like, what's the difference between those two?
Right.
One is, so.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.